We are live. There we go. Morning all. Morning all. Morning. Okay, good. Okay, so sound should be good. Yeti. There we go. All right, we should be good. Let me have a look at Forex Factory and just see what we got here. So having a look. Aussie dollar, we passed that one. No change. Okay, all good. Let's have a look at this. I'm just going to bring this up here as well. Okay, good. So I can see any chat or any questions. That's good. Okay. Here we go. Let's have a look at the market. Okay. It's always a slow start whenever I get going in these things. The number of hoops you have to jump through to get the OBS software and everything to get going. Okay, so just commenting here, we're on the tail end of the Tokyo session, where London session hasn't kicked off. It's only 7:30 a.m. So what I'm going to be looking for is what's moving right now, because sometimes the market's already moving. What's on my watch list, and a recap of yesterday, because there were a couple of trades I was looking at yesterday. I've hit first take profit on some of the yen crosses, but my other one, pound Aussie, was a losing trade. So let's just have a quick look at that so we can cross that off the list for now. So on the higher time frame, I was looking at, within an uptrend, a pullback either to one of these major levels, which was either to here or down to here. So one of those two levels, and actually it set up relatively bullishly when it pulled back to this area, which is a feasible area. Triggered me in on a trade on the lower time frame, which I was happy with, but I didn't reach break even, and then subsequently is now doing a deeper correction. So this is still on my watch list for today for the same setup. So in other words, I haven't changed my trading plan on that at all. I'm looking for pound Aussie to effectively resume its longer term uptrend. Okay, so trading plan on this has not changed. I just had a setup yesterday, and my only concern with it was exactly what I stated, was that it might not be ready to continue or resume the uptrend. And so what happened was there was a nice little rejection of the lows here. This was actually a setup, so I could have potentially taken that, which I missed. And there was a breakout at this point, a flat level breakout in this area, of which I did take. So I set up my entry order, break of the high. My stop loss was here, and I didn't take partial profits. If I had, this would have been a break-even trade, which is another reason why we should always consider taking partial profits. There was quite a strong reaction. Then the market subsequently went sideways and has followed down according to, and is now behaving much more in line with the deeper correction. So from the start, there was always a risk that could be the outcome, that the market could have retraced, continued up, or retraced further, and that's all that's happened. Okay, so let's carry on. Let's go back to the originals. Let's have a look at euro dollar. So euro dollar 4 hour is, euro dollar 4 hour is not, morning Rashad, morning Stephen. Thank you guys for joining me, and sound is good, I take it, all right? So just checking, assuming all that stuff. Now, okay, so euro dollar is choppy and messy compared to what it has been like. Part of that is probably because there's a mixture of buyers and sellers. People want the dollar strength to continue, euro weakness, but there are also buyers kind of stepping in. So it'll only clean up its behavior once it kind of starts to break above here. When the tipping point, more sellers go, okay, it's obviously going to go higher, they'll step out. It'll probably pick up. And as I said yesterday, I think there's a very good chance that this could head up towards 1.14, which is up here, or even as high as 1.15. I think there's a good chance it'll do that. But notice how we've got these lower highs coming in here. And again, if you know me, I don't usually use trend lines, but if I had to draw a line in the sand, that would kind of be considered downwards momentum. All right, now in an uptrend, this would be considered a bull flag, meaning that once we break it, it would be a move to the upside. So I'm using traditional, old-fashioned technical analysis. So we've got to move up here. So we don't know yet if it's going to continue down or if it's going to head up, if this is a bull flag at the beginning of a new uptrend, or if it's just there's no such word as resumption. In other words, the resuming of a downtrend, but this could just be that. So this is what I'm looking for. I want to see if we break over this line, over this bearish line. Obviously, I would prefer if we start to break above these highs, and then I would start looking for buying opportunities for the day. Then they would also be, if you consider it like that, so if that is the case, the point at which it breaks up through that, this line then becomes the bullish line in the sand, meaning that it should stay above that. When it starts to break below that, the bullish momentum is shifting to bearish. Okay, so then it's losing momentum. So let me just rephrase. There's just a line here, which it's currently going in a downtrend. If it breaks that, that means that the momentum is shifting from bearish to bullish, or at least not bearish anymore, or not as bearish anymore. And if it does end up going up from here, then there's another line there that says, look, if it goes back below that, it's going back to the longer term downtrend. So that's how I'm using the trend lines, not for taking trades off, just to give me a sense of the angle of momentum. So that's what I'm looking for, especially once we start to break above these highs. You can argue that perhaps there's a bit of a level here. So you could say, okay, well, there's a bit of a level here. Once we kind of break above that, there might be some retest and continuations. Might be tomorrow, might be later today. Could even be up to this evening. Cool. So that's euro dollar. So it's in this awkward place where I'm bearish below here when it starts to break below those lows. But I actually think there's a high probability that it's going to shift momentum and start to head up. And once it does, there might be some trades. So the rules for me are I'm looking to enter on the 15 minutes, but I ideally want clarity from the 4 hour which way it's going. And even better from the 1 hour as well. Okay, these are strong rejections off this level here. So again, I'm going to kind of draw a line in here and say, look, those are strong rejections of that. That is effectively a double bottom or a strong rejection of that. And so that can be a shift in trend if we end up breaking the highs. So in other words, comes down here, that's a high there, comes down, there's a lower high here. But if we break, again, start breaking, especially if we break that, I would say we're now going to start heading to the upside. And it looks like it might do that. Okay, next. So do I have GBP, blah, 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 do I have it here? No. Okay, so I want to just go through these as quickly as possible. Let's bring this down. Oh, this, by the way, if anyone wants to know, is a session. It's called Forex Market Hours. That's it. I've just adjusted the colors, but if you just search for Forex_market_hours_GMT or whatever, version 2 or anything like that, it should direct you to wherever it is, and it's free. Okay, and it's free. Okay, so let's take that off, and let's just add this into a chart, and let's have a look at this. Okay, so on the 4 hour, we have got sort of trending a little bit high. Again, let's use that trend line just to give us that angular momentum. Okay, so that angular momentum, in fact, I want it to be fresher because I want to know if the current angle, which is kind of something like that, is starting to get broken. And I think it's fair to say I think we've started to breach it. Okay, nothing too fancy, we've started to breach it. We've also got a bit of a level here, potential double bottom. Okay, so this is starting to look more bullish than bearish. Early days. What does the 1 hour look like? 1 hour is in an uptrend. It's struggling to get through here. So there could be some potential buys if it breaks above, and there's some potential moves to the upside. So there could be that. But again, I almost always want to see a nice solid candle break through and close. So in other words, solid candles that break and close above on the 4 hour and 1 hour can often be what I need when I go down to the 15 minutes, that I can then look for a potential continuation or entry trade to that. So again, I'm not using the trend line in the traditional sense. It's just an angle of momentum. Is it bullish or bearish? That's all. I think we started to break this downwards momentum, which is why we even offset it a little bit to make sure that I'm not imagining things. We do have a confirmed uptrend on the 1 hour. So, okay, so sterling might then be an option for buying opportunities later in the day if we get dollar weakness. So all of this is around the idea of dollar weakness, if it's going to happen. If it's going to happen, we're going to see cable climb, we're going to see euro dollar climb as well. So that leaves me with what's next, Aussie dollar. So let's go back to Aussie dollar 4 hour. clear break of these lows. Okay, so on the 4 hour, I can get rid of that for now. Let's just get rid of that. Okay, let's have a look at this. So yesterday I spoke about there being a continuation if we broke below those levels and continued down, which we didn't. We've actually now started to reverse. We're starting to climb. So this supports that idea potentially of trades to the upside for now. Okay, so if I just go ahead and just draw that, we're on this side now. So what you have is you have a break of bearish momentum. You then also have a series of high lows, high highs. Remember, I'm only looking for trades for today. So I'm looking to make sure which way is the market going to go. If we look at the daily, are we overextended? Have we started a swing low? Have we started a retracement? Yes, we have. Where could we be going? Well, we could be going up to these old highs here, potentially. We could also potentially be heading into these lows here. So, but if we really have started this retracement, I think it's fair to say, especially you do Fibonacci, Stephen, as well. I think it's fair to say, that I think it's reasonable that we could expect it to do perhaps anywhere from a 3 to a 50% retracement. So I think there is a strong possibility that we're going to see some moves up higher. We might struggle there a bit, but I think that that'll give us some buying opportunities. So now we go down to the 4 hour. There'll be a point where the 4 hour will need to do a bit of a correction. So I think I would prefer for this to do a bit of a retracement when it's not in its, if we are now, we'll only know in the future that this is in an extension phase as opposed to it's an extension phase to the upside in a new uptrend, or if it's a retracement to the downside. We won't know. So, but at any rate, I think I'd prefer for it to kind of, you see, this is actually a really nice trade setup. Sorry. There's a very nice little consolidation and a breakout. That's really, really cool. A little bit too early. It's very premature in this downtrend. So in hindsight, it's obvious, but at the time, it would have been, I think, considered high risk. So point is, Aussie dollar also now looks like it's climbing. If it is, I think we could see today, tomorrow, maybe the rest of this week, some buying opportunities to the upside for day trading. Let's look at Kiwi Dollar. So Kiwi Dollar, I spoke about this idea of it. This was yesterday, getting out, breaking up. You can see it's starting to breach this angle of momentum as well, starting to look more bullish. So here, what would make the most sense is pretty much part of what we're kind of talking about here. Similar type of idea. I can just update that. Hi, Dan. Hello. I can just update that. Okay, so it's going to be something along those lines. So again, probably a bit of a retest or a move above. Again, let's have a look at that on the daily. Again, very overextended. This is very bullish, this price action here. Sorry, so that you can see it. This is quite bullish. Move down with a bit of a rejection there, indecision candle, and then a bullish engulfing candle at this point, especially if we close up near the highs, that becomes a U-turn. And a U-turn is a rejection. If you merge the candles together, you get a strong rejection. And it's not likely to be a small move. It's probably likely to head up to these highs here. So I think it's fair to say we could see, and look at that, that's quite a strong breakout. Again, this is a nice breakout candle, guys and girls. Breakout close outside of this range, well above this range. That's usually that's our breakout candle. What I want to see now is a continuation to the upside. Okay, continuation to the upside. So I'm just doing this, we're starting to breach it. So no matter which way we kind of spin it, we're starting to breach that bearish tone. It's not as consolidation or breakout to the upside. So kind of pullback here could provide some moves to the upside. Or if I'm concerned about that today, wait until tomorrow. So it's headed up higher. It's definitely produced high lows, high highs. That it's a question of how ripe is it, how ready is it for, I keep looking over there, but the camera's over there. How ready is it for trading? Or how ready do you feel it is for trading? Also, by the way, I'm only risking 0.25% per trade. I'm risking 0.25% per trade. So my pound Aussie trade yesterday lost me 0.25%. But for example, so I take profits currently at 1-to-1. I take half my profits at 1-to-1, and I have a 3-to-1 target. If I've got a lot of stuff going on, just set a 3-to-1 target and it goes there. So the maths works out at 2 to 1. Because of the taking half at 1 to 1 and taking the other 3 to 1 at the maths averages out at 2 to 1. So if I take 2 trades, so actually I've taken 3 trades since yesterday. I'm up already effectively because the two open trades, the yen crosses, which I'll show you now, have already taken partial profits and they're already almost at their 3 to 1 targets. So I'll be 2 to 1 on both of those and down 1 or whatever the 1R. So 2R on both of those, which will be 4R minus the 1R on pound Aussie. I'll be up 3R. And 3R on that is a 0.75%. If I have that over a couple of days, I can do 1.5% in the week, or 2% in the week if there's lots of trades, and then it compounds up to 6 or 7 or 8%, which in itself is very cool, risking very, very small amounts. And that's my personal preference. That, like, I've worked out that taking a loss of 0.25%, no change in my mental state at all. Whereas, taking if I have 2 losing trades up front and I'm down 2%, there's a bit of so you have to adjust it. It has to be adjusted in line with what are your personal goals. Because to be honest, if I might say to myself 6 months from now going, okay, I need to toughen up. I need to up it to 0.5% or I need to up it to 1% because I'm not getting the growth I want. But I like it right now. It's a really good comfort zone. Okay, so that's principally what I'm looking for. I think that I would like to see the second candle here be closed bullishly. So in other words, we've had a breakout, but I wanted to follow through on that. So I would just keep an eye on that. But so far, Euro dollar, Kiwi, Aussie dollar, GBP are breaking their downtrends and are starting to look more bullish. In other words, they now look like they're starting a daily retracement. Okay, next up. Dollar yen, dollar CAD. Let's go look for that. So, excuse me. Okay, dollar yen. 4 hour. Let's look at the daily quickly. So daily is a mess. I acknowledge that. It's a bit of a mess. I think with dollar yen, although it does its own thing, that one way to do it is you could approach it in isolation and say, okay, well, whatever signals it gives me, I'm just going to follow through on. I'm not going to worry about dollar strength or dollar weakness. I'm just going to trade dollar yen on its own merits. You can do that if you want. It's not my favorite, but it's, I've been trading it lately. If the setups are there, the setups are there. So point is, it's also now starting to push to the upside, so there could be some possibilities there. But I think I'm going to leave this one for now, go on to, we've got dollar CAD here, and have a look at dollar CAD. So we'll do dollar Swissy first, and then we'll go back. Okay, so now dollar Swissy actually now is starting to look to me a little bit more bullish. Let's look at that daily. Daily heading up into this area, 4 hours, broken to the upside. Okay, so this is how I would approach this. Breaks below this, I'd be bearish. In fact, there's a bit of a range here, and I would say if it comes back below that, I'm also still bearish, because if we do get that dollar weakness unfolding, we're going to see more of it to this side. So I think for now, I would prefer to see this break above here before trading it to feel that it's still bullish. And if it comes back in here, so in other words, right now it looks like it might be coming down. If it breaks below here, then I'm not really keen on trading it. I'd like to see it trade above that to be bullish, just because of the signs on the other majors that are looking at potential dollar weakness. So it's going to be interesting to see where that is tomorrow morning. I might do this again tomorrow morning if you guys want that. I'm trying to make it quick so we don't spend too much time doing this. Dollar CAD. So we spoke about this yesterday. Dollar CAD meant a break below this level and a retest. We've had a break this side of that bullish trend line. I think it's fair to say a lot of exhaustion, and we started to break the lows here. We haven't really broken this level yet. I think it's fair to say that it's now not as bullish. This uptrend is starting, the structure is starting to break. So cool. But still, I think I'd prefer to see a break below here. So I'm going to mark it. Just kind of there. Just break below that level and then look for potential shorts. Because sometimes you'll get your first big move will be quite big and then possibly a retest. And there's a difference, by the way, between where it comes back almost immediately, retests a move, and when it actually circles back round and comes back. Those are usually very good setups when it does. Takes its time to come back and retest the level. That's like, those are sweet trades. So I think continuation short. So dollar CAD stays on the list from yesterday. to the downside. I think I'd like to see some breaks below this. Starts to break below that, then I'd be looking for shorts, probably down to here initially, at least. Probably. Okay, but here it's in that dangerous spot where it's still in a range where it could just resume up. So I want to see it break down. And one of the ways in which you can do that is a candle like this over here. So it's a bullish a bearish candle closing right down here outside of that range. In other words, it's like it's reached and it's just fixed in there. So I'm looking for a solid like bearish breakout and one that closes near the lows. So this is more price action mastery. Candlestick that closes near the lows, bearish closing below here is usually 90% of the time is your confirmed breakout of a range. So that's the plan there. Okay, Euro GBP. Okay, Euro GBP. Bit of a mix. Again, I would be bearish below this range. It's still potentially range bound, so it could bounce all the way up. I think I would give that a miss for now, because it could go either way here. It could go back up to the top of the range or it could break below that. I think I'm going to give that a miss, so pass on that. Euro Aussie. Okay, so Euro Aussie, let's go back up to the daily. Daily is, and I'm just going to clean this up. Let's go back to the template. There we go. I think on this one, we've pulled back into this area of support. There is no trade setup at this time. In other words, here's a sort of a bit of a structural low here. This level could hold. So what I'm looking for here today, it's a 4-hour chart, so this could take the whole day, is to see if price can stay above this level and produce a bullish, strong 4-hour candle. Ideally 2. So what I'm looking for ideally is a couple of wick rejections here. So I'd like to see 2 candles, this one potentially, which closes in 2 hours and 7 minutes, to close as a bullish candle, or potentially a second one next to it in a bullish candle. So what does that mean? It means for trading purposes, if this falls through here, then I'm starting to become more and more bearish, obviously. But there's no point in trading this to the downside now. For intraday, there's an overall trend on this to the upside for now. How you might have traded this to the downside is because during the day, for a day trader, you have 3 4-hour candles. That's 12 hours worth of trading. So there would be some traders who would have seen this failure here as a breakout trade to the downside and traded it on the 5 minutes or the 15 minute down to here. 3 to 1, that's all they do. We've missed that because it's happened overnight, so there's no way we've got that. So our next thing is to see if the bigger trend is still intact to the upside. If it keeps going down, in my mind, it's overextended to the downside. It's too dangerous to trade to the downside. I think our first plan is to trade this to the upside. And I acknowledge that some of you who've known me for a while, this is a bit more advanced. So I just want you to remember that we have 3 4-hour candles. What we want is to find an existing 4-hour chart where the direction is very clear and ideally not overextended, whichever way it's going to go. So there was also a bit of a breakout here. You see you've got the solid bearish candle. When you see a bearish candle like that, you have momentum. You have a shift in momentum. So what I'm looking for here is a bullish candle which shows a shift in 4-hour momentum. That's what I'm looking for. So see how this is forming a bit of a wick in this area. So if this closes with a bit of a wick like that, that looks a little bit like those wicks, and there's another candle that does the same thing, that would tell me that over 8 hours the market has failed to break through, and therefore there's now the possibility, especially if the second candle is nice and bullish, then there's probably going to be a continuation of this uptrend holding that level of support and resistance, and we can see a move back up, and then I can look for an entry on that one. So that is my plan for that, and probably the same for Pound Aussie. So let's do Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi. So Euro Kiwi is, I would say, is now officially in a bit of a downtrend. It's still in an uptrend on the daily. Still in an, right, there we go. Still into this area. So I think that's going to stay. Again, I'll have the same plan. So Euro Kiwi, Euro Aussie, same thing. Looking for bullish signs in this area for a move back up to the upside. So uptrend still intact on Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi. Let me just go and have a look at Pound Aussie. Pound Aussie is the same idea. It started to fall through here, so it's not looking as bullish. I need bullish candles here. So I think I'm going to leave this for now. I'm looking for those to be bullish. So I need a couple of rejection candles, meaning I'd like to see either a rejection wick or a green candle, a bullish candle close to see, so that I can see it's shifting. And then I'm looking for moves to the upside. Nothing else there. Pound Kiwi is probably going to be the same approach. So then we're on Euro Yen. So let's have a look at Euro Yen. Okay, Euro Yen. So these are a couple of trades that I've taken at the moment. We've started to break that bearish momentum to the upside. You can see it headed down, it's consolidated. There's bullish divergence. If you look on the MACD, you'll see there's bullish divergence. We've started to breach above this level. So here's a level of resistance and support. I think it's fair to say if we can break above this, we start to look more bullish than bearish. We're starting to look more bullish than bearish. So here we've got a bit of an uptrend. I'd really like to see us break free of this, but buys to the upside on that for me are looking good. So again, probably a few of these, like a break and a retest, would be quite nice. So maybe something here potentially could be something like this. There could be something along those lines. Could be good. So, and obviously if it breaks up here, we've still got a continuation of the uptrend. But the amount of time that would take to happen would put us in about anywhere from 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock today. So there's that uptrend. Cool. Any questions so far? Okay, next up. So that's Euro Yen, Euro Swissy. Same thing, Euro Swissy has started to break its trend to the downside. Just going to do this quickly. Right. We've started to break that downward angle momentum. We've got price. What we have now is the 4 hour is trying to produce a higher low. Okay, so we've got a bit of a level here. I'm just going to mark that. I would say once we're above that, I'm much more bullish. I would prefer to see it above that, looking good. So that's the plan for that. I think if it stays below this, it's not strong enough to trade to the upside, and it's still potentially just going to, this is an area that is significant. So if I can get a move above this, I start to become more bullish. We're almost done. We're almost done, guys. It's going to be much faster today. So that's Euro Swissy, Euro CAD, Euro CAD. Okay, so Euro CAD, I spoke about the idea of it staying in the range yesterday. It didn't. It's broken down. So Euro CAD now open to shorting opportunities to the downside. Let's just get this template, clean this up a little bit. Now I would say open to shorting opportunities to the downside potentially. Let's have a look at that. Nice little bit of a level there. Another level here, just keeping an eye on this stuff. Okay, so again, I think a pullback up to here is shorting opportunities or a continuation, but I think here it makes more sense for me to look for shorting opportunities here. I prefer that. And that's good because that's it's turning around relatively aggressively. So let's have a look at that one. You can see it's quite nice and bearish. Starting to slow down a bit. Alternatively, and I think again, it's very aggressive. I'm not sure I would do this, but if it does decide to trade up, I would trade that. I prefer the downtrend. I think the downtrend, now that we clearly have that shift to the downside, I think I would rather do that. So that's a wait and see, a bit of a wait and see. Pound Aussie, Pound Kiwi, we've done. Pound Yen is going to be the same as Euro Yen. So Pound Yen is over here. Pound Yen is looking more bullish, and I think we can agree that that is looking way more bullish now than bearish. And so we've broken that downtrend. And so again, here it's pullbacks continuation. So for me, that's looking for pullbacks. Let's go to the 1 hour. There we go. So any kind of pullback to retest this, especially if this can happen, like a nice slow one is really good in this area. Looking for bullish candles as a potential takeoff to the other side could be very cool. So that looking nice for longs to the upside. Again, just 3-to-1s, nothing too fancy there. So that's Pound Yen. Then we have Pound Swissy. Pound Swissy, what's going on with Pound Swissy here? Okay, Pound Swissy's broken that downtrend, so now we're trading to the upside. Trading to the upside here, starting to break above here as well, starting to break above this. This was the last time that like bulls were not able to get back over that line, so they failed to get through here and they headed lower. Now they breached it. So this, what's happening here is a significant shift. The fact that we can get over this line here, if we could close above that, is a good sign. Okay, and so again, continuation to the upside. So for me, this now becomes a question of either a breakout. So let's do this. Either a breakout if you want to consider that a flat level, and you've got a bit of a build up and a breakout to that, which could be the case. Alternatively, a break and a retest again on that 15-minute time frame. A break and a retest, good opportunities to the upside. So to me, I think there's a lot of stuff today. I think yesterday was terrible because like yesterday, sometimes you get trades that trigger on Monday, but not always. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. Pound Swissy. So quite a few of these heading higher. We've got Pound CAD. Let's have a look at Pound CAD. Okay. Messy, but trending lower. So this is similar to Pound, was it EuroCAD? EuroCAD and Pound CAD are heading lower, breaking lower. So there could be some short opportunities on those. What else have we got? So we've got Euro, Aussie, Kiwi. Wow, really bullish. The problem with this, which I like, is that we've already missed most of that bullishness. That's just very, very strong, very much overextended to the upside, but would have been quite nice. So the only, excuse me, the only problem I have with this is it's near the top. It's been running for a while. It's overextended. I would be very cautious with that. But that's what it looked good. Aussie yen. Oh man, you're kidding me, right? Okay, big strong push up, starting to break through these levels. That is a level. There's no doubt that's a bit of a level there. So concerned, but actually could be some good trading opportunities. Looking at the 1 hour, what I would like to see here is a retracement. This is too dangerous to get into now, but a retracement down to potentially down towards this area could be quite nice. So somewhere into this area could be a really good opportunity to the upside. So let's see when that happens. That's a wait and see. But again, so yen pairs are doing some really strong retracements on the daily. So they are all quite good. They all qualify, I think. We've got Aussie Swissy, 4 hour. Okay, 4 hours starting to break as well. So it's a bit of a rejection on the lows. Again, I think the approach is going to be the same thing. A bit overextended. There was a breakout over here. Have a look. Very nice. Flat level breakout. Boom. To the other side. So nice bit of a breakout. It's quite bullish. 15 minutes. Flat level here. Look at that. And again, look at the behavior of price action, ladies and gents. Look at that solid candle breaking out and closing on the other side. That's your breakout candle. Most people don't know this. That's your breakout candle, and then it carries on from there. Any kind of a retest here. So I'm going to put this down. I like this. Again, I think there could be a lot of opportunities here. I'm not going to go, I won't necessarily take all of them, but I think we have more potentially on the table here for these opportunities here. So let's see how they go. They look okay. Aussie CAD will be going south. If you're a CAD, maybe we're going to get that. What's happening here? There we go. Okay. High, low, high, high. So we've got a bit of an uptrend on Aussie CAD up to here potentially. So that's interesting. And there's also a level here. You've got that confirmed uptrend. So if you go to the 1 hour, you've got a potential uptrend trading up to here. So this is it. All we're doing is looking for shorter term trades for today. Where is it going? Broken above this level, probably going to head up to that level. So I'm looking for lower time. Almost always my entries on the 5 minutes or 15 minutes, and mostly on the 15 minutes. So looking for pullbacks, continuations. We'll see, because tomorrow I'll do a recap. We'll run through these charts and just see how they're going and see if any of them, maybe because some of them might not set up today, they might only set up tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. Kiwi yen, I'm going to skip the Kiwi pairs for now, but they'll have the same approach. Swissy yen. What do I think? I saw one of these. Swissy yen will be similar. Probably the yen pairs for the most part jumping up. Okay, that's a mess. So that one was a pass. So Swissy yen is just a mess anyway, but it is now heading up to the top of the range. CAD yen. CAD yen looking more bullish. So I think yen pairs, for me, the yen pairs are the most viable today, where I feel the safest. A lot of them are really quite strong and pushing through. Some of the majors, the pound and euro, also look quite bullish, but I think the yen crosses for me represent the first, that's the first on my list. Then we have, so let's have a quick look at gold. Okay, so gold has started to produce high lows, high highs, but it's a mess anyway. So gold for me, I have a concern. it would have to break kind of, I think I would prefer for it to break above that. I really am not comfortable until this starts to get higher. So break above 1795, would like to see this climb. Alternatively, this could continue down. So if it breaks this low, I think it's going to head down to these. So if it breaks here, it's going to head down to these areas. If it breaks above that, I think it'll go up. So pass on gold for now. Silver. Silver is also forming a bit of a bottom over here. Okay, forming a bit of a bottom, potentially likely to go up. Again, I'd like to see it start to break these highs, start to head up. But it's, you know, it's also... Is it? It's starting to breach it. But again, I'd break above that, break and a retest to go higher. So both gold and silver, I need to see more before that happens. Let's look at UK oil. UK oil is bullish. So again, bullish looking good. So for oil, also might be relatively safe to trade to the upside. So you're looking for retests of key levels. If it's already close to the next level, there's a big level up here. So that was the buyers in control. What do we got over there? Let's have a look at US oil. Bullish, bit overextended, pullbacks. So I think excuse me, the oils, it's going to be retests for me. I'm just going to mark this. We're almost done. Another couple of minutes and then we're finished. So we'll be quicker than yesterday at least. So good. Oil to the upside. Okay, and then we've got the Dow. We've got a few of these other ones. They're looking quite bullish. US oil cash. Oh, you see? Okay, there we go. And there's your breakout over resistance. There's that breakout candle and going. And if we broke below that, we were bearish. So we've broken above it. We're now bullish. Cool. Let's look at the Dow. Okay, bullish. Look at this. Breakout levels over here. Look at that breakout candle. Breakout candle. Nice, solid breakout. Okay. It took me years to figure that one out. You can get a reversal. You can get a breakout and then a break back in. You can get that. But that's generally your clue that you get that solid breakout. So my only issue here is I think it's a bit overextended. A retest, same thing. I think now I'm preaching to the converted. I'd be looking for retests on these. I'd be looking for something to come down. Which might not, but it's overextended. In my opinion, this is overextended. I think it could be due for a bit of a correction down to these areas here. So I'm a little concerned about that. But obviously bullish. They look good. What about S&P? It's going to be the same approach. Okay, so for example, how would we go, okay, well, how do I know where it's kind of safe? So look at it on the daily. You've found a base. So let's very quickly talk about this one. So we found a bit of a base. Actually, that's probably it. Found a bit of a base, broken above these highs. We've actually done a break and a retest. So if I just put this in here, we've done a nice break and a retest. Beautiful break and a retest on our way. We do have challenges up ahead. Absolutely. We have, I think we're going to have a fair amount of challenges in some of these areas up here. So I think we're going to have that. If we break above that, we've got some room to go. And again, we will have challenges again at these levels up here. So it's higher risk because the market's relatively exhausted. So this is retested, headed up to here. It's a little bit tight on that. Let's see what it looks like here on the 15 minutes. And so one of the ways in which I could use the trend line is just to give me a sense, instead of moving averages. So you can use the moving averages or you can use this, but it'll give you a sense, at least roughly, a sense of where you might be able to get a bit of an entry. Just a rough guide, meaning that if it does come down to this area, so if we can get price to come back into these lows, if it does into that or not, any kind of pullbacks. But it gives you a rough area. The moving averages will do fine. So if you're using the 10 and 20, you'll be absolutely fine. So bullish on those, but I'm just wary of these major levels because I think we could end up. So I would take trades where there's definitely at least 2-to-1 before I get up to those next levels. I wouldn't take anything less than that. I'd be very cautious about those. And that's it. So that's going to be the same for the Dow as well, for Nasdaq. So have a look at Nasdaq. So Nasdaq 4 hour, very bullish, like hugely picking up pace. We've got a bit of a level here. We've got another level up here. So you can see this is going to be a problem for us, for everybody up there. We are approaching a bit of a level here. Let's go with that. There we go. We're starting to breach it. Looks good. Let's go down to the 1 hour. This is what I want to get through. But what would I do here? It needs a retest. It needs some kind of a correction, which might. So maybe what I would do is The US kicks off this afternoon. So basically, I would wait for pullbacks around about, and anywhere from 1 to 2 p.m., I would expect it to start coming back about 10, 11 o'clock, starts coming back down. And then somewhere between 1:30 to 2:30 p.m., this starts to take off. And so there'd be a run up to the upside. And that could be the 15-minute, that could be the 5-minute, down to that time frame. But it's quite aggressive, and I think it does need to come back at some point to test those levels. So at some point, I need a pullback. Ideally back to this level at 16,000 coming, or 16,015, back to that, and then I'll be looking for buys to the upside. And on the 15-minute time frame, that will give me some decent risk to reward. That's it. So that is my that's everything in the markets. There's quite a lot. I think the yen crosses are my favorite for buys to the upside. I think the S&P, the US, those things are going to move quickly. So the 5 minutes or 15 minutes is going to be what I'm going to be looking for to the upside. I think gold and silver are probably worth a pass in light of that. Oil's also looking a little bit bullish, okay, but again, that's lower down the list. The yen crosses are looking good, and I also think there's a possibility to go back to it, that there might be some on the majors, such as sterling or euro dollar. But in terms of preference, I think the best ones are the yen crosses, maybe the indices, then oil, then the other pairs, and then gold and silver in that order. I would do that. Any questions, guys? That's it. I know we went for 40 minutes today. I'll try and keep it to 30 minutes in future. So I might do a bit of prep work and then just go, okay, these are the charts I'm looking at. But I like running through the charts fresh and live, so it's up to you. You let me know what you like, and then we'll do that. And then so tomorrow morning I will do the same. So tomorrow morning 7:30 I should be online, and then we'll pick up and see what's happened later in the day. So if you're okay with that, I'm going to wrap this up and go and see what's setting up and go and place some orders, or see if there's any orders to be placed soon. But yeah, I'm going to be watching some of those yen crosses. So I'm in on some of the pound yen ones just to show you where I am, where I got in, for example. So euro yen and pound yen, I got in on, these were yesterday. When did I get in on mine? Euro yen, I got in on the 15 minutes break and a retest. Yep, here. Actually here. On that break and a retest, I got in on that. So there, that was my kind of entry to the upside. Cool. And so just trading really straightforward stuff. Support, resistance, price action, and breaks and retests, and price action signals as well. Quite good. So nothing too complicated. But also, obviously, trade management is key. Taking partial profits at 1-to-1. So I've got a script. I have a script. Let's see if it's in here. I have a script that I use, which is modified. It's called Position Size Calculator. Love it. Position Size Calculator. I've modified mine. So then I have this. I can put it on. I just say OK, and then I can place my lines. I can put my risk in. So I could say my risk is 0.5% or 0.25. I could say I want to go long or short. So let's say I want to go long, and then I can do pending or instant. And then I can adjust the stop loss. I can have a take profit that is set in, 2-to-1. There's a complicated way. So I've got a modified version of this where it splits 2 orders. So it has a 3-to-1 target and a 1-to-1 target. And then it just splits them into 2 different orders, and then it hits the one order, closes out, and then I have to manually update the stop loss. So I'm trying to find a way in which if the one take profit is hit, the other one's stop loss updates. So just trying to do that. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Good. Let me know if this is useful, if it's helpful, or if you need more information from me, and I'll adapt. Okay, it's not meant to be boring. It's meant to be helpful and instructive, but I think there's a lot of potential across most of the markets. So it's just picking the ones that set up. But most of the markets are like offering something. But yesterday was junk. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Let me end it, and I will see you tomorrow.